Hello everyone, in this video I'll show you how you can self-host the latest version of Medusa JS 2.0, the open source e-commerce platform that just keeps getting better every month. And this time I'll be showing you how to do it the recommended way, so the server architecture that is recommended by the Medusa team. And that's a little bit different from what I've been doing in the past, because up until now I have been hosting the entire backend as a single service, so one node application to handle everything, which is fine, but it is not very scalable and it can cause slow response time and lead to some performance issues if you get higher traffic. So the recommended way is to split the backend into two pieces: a server and a worker. And the server is responsible for hosting your admin dashboard. This is where you will manage orders and customers and products and all that kind of stuff. And it is also the API between the storefront and your backend. And then we have the worker mode, and the worker is responsible for running heavier tasks such as scheduled jobs and workflows. And the idea is, when you split it up into two pieces, then these heavy operations will not steal resources for the API. So your storefront should remain snappy and your customers should have a smooth experience even when heavy operations are running in the backend. So that is the architecture we're going for now. And to make life easier for ourselves, we're going to be using my GitHub boilerplate for Medusa. And this is a repository that I've been maintaining for about 7 months, I think. It is pretty well battle tested by now. It has more than 5,000 individual deploys, and you can see here it's been deploying pretty frequently. It also has 100 forks, so a lot of people have used it, and I generally don't get too many complaints on it. A little while ago, I put out this video, which is in relation to the boilerplate template, and I was showing this latest addition to the template, the MedusaJS integration. MedusaJS is a self-hosted search engine that indexes all your products and provides a really advanced search field for your storefront. And this was introduced about 3 months ago. And back then I also had a few known issues, so slow storefront and some users experiencing an error when uploading media. And good news is that both of these two things have been fixed, and potentially the slow storefront will be improved even more with the new server architecture that we are going to be covering. Under the future plans, I listed this new server architecture, which is exactly what I'm going to be covering today. And then I also had this point about internalizing networking when possible. And the good news for anybody who is already running the boiler template, who launched it previously in the past, later in this video, I will be showing you two very simple settings that you can apply that will internalize the networking between the database and your Redis instance. That will not only speed up the application, but it will also save you a little bit on cost. So stick around because you don't want to miss out on that. All right, let's get right started with the tutorial. We start at the GitHub page, and I'll make sure to leave a link to this page in the video description. And if we scroll down a little bit on the page, you'll see here there is a step-by-step guide, and this is a blog post that I'm actively maintaining and has a lot of resources that will be very useful. So there's some video instructions, and if we scroll a little bit further down, we see here the requirements to get started, and you're going to need a GitHub account and a Railway account. And if you didn't already have a Railway account, then make sure when you sign up to connect it with GitHub. So click sign up with GitHub. They need to be connected. That's gonna be important later. And then there is this button to the deployed template itself on Railway where everything is set up. And this one contains 7 services. So this is not, you cannot run this off the free user. You need at least a hobby plan to launch this. But if you wanna try out Medusa without paying for the hobby plan first, I have this here, the trial template. So this one only consists of 5 services, and that is the maximum that you can run on a free tier user. So you can try out this, or you can upgrade to the hobby plan, and then you can launch the real template, which we are going to be doing now. And you see this one, it has a lot more stuff. It has the search engine that I was mentioning earlier, and then it also has a console for the bucket storage. And we are also going to be duplicating the backend, so we will actually end up with 8 services total. But let's just get started. I'll click the deploy now button, and all of these things can be configured. The backend can have a few extra things, some additional API keys for like Stripe payment and resend for email integration, but you don't really have to worry about all that now, and you can do that later. So I'll just deploy it as it is. I'll click the deploy button, and this will take about 5 to 10 minutes to launch the template before we can make the next changes, which is duplicating the backend. So I'll pause the video while the project is building, and then I'll come back as soon as it is ready. Okay, Railway is now finished building our Medusa 2.0 project, and it is working now. You have a backend and a storefront that you could start using already, but that is not what this video is about. We want to create this new server architecture. So let's get started and doing that. I'm just gonna respace my canvas a little bit here because it's gonna be cramped a little bit. And what we wanna do is copy the backend. So I'm gonna be moving it a little bit, and then I'll right click, and then I'll find this duplicate. And it's gonna put a new instance of the backend somewhere. Oh, we got it out here. I'll just drag it into the canvas, space it a little bit like this, and zoom in again. And the first thing I want to do is rename it. I don't want to call it backend copy, so I'll click here, and then I'll call it backend worker. And then we need to change the variables a little bit. So go into the variables and open the raw editor, and all the course ones we don't need anymore. So we can delete admin course and auth course. Let's see, we need the cookie secret, we need the database URL, the Java Web Token secret, and then there is these two values for the login credential of the initial admin users. We don't need those here. And then it's optional whether you want to keep it connected to the Mealy search and the Minio bucket. But I recommend doing it because if you want to implement some workflows that indexes products, then it is a good idea that the worker can also talk with the search engine. And the same with the image hosting service. If you are planning on making any kind of service that processes images, maybe you're using AI tag generation in a workflow, then it's useful that the worker service can also read and write to the medias. Node environment, production, yeah, and we don't need the public domain, so we can delete that one. We definitely need it connected to the Redis, so that is how the backend worker and server are talking to each other. They are writing to the Redis and the database, obviously. And store course, we can delete that because we are not connected to the storefront at all. That's the server. And then the template reporter, let's delete that one as well. So that is all we need to keep, but then we need to add a few things as well. So I'll go back here to the boilerplate template, and then we go into the backend and source, lib, and constants, and I scroll all the way to the bottom, and you see this one here, worker mode, and we want to copy that to clipboard, and you can see it can be either worker, server, or shared, and we want it to be worker. So like that. And then there's one more thing we can do. We can enable this one here, should disable admin. And when we set that to true, that just makes sure that the admin dashboard is not hosted from this one. It wouldn't work anyway because we deleted the course, and we also don't expose any public URL. And we don't want to spend resources hosting the admin dashboard. That's the whole point of it. So we'll disable it. So I'll say here true. And that should be it. I'll click update. And now we have some pending updates, but we are not entirely done because we also need to set the worker mode on the other backend. So this one here, we want to add a new variable, and that should be server. So like this, add, and we don't want to disable the admin dashboard here. We want to keep it. Okay, but that's the changes that we need. So I'll click deploy, and this will take a little while. So I'll pause the video and come back as soon as we are deployed. Okay, they are both done building now, so let's just inspect them to see that everything went well. I'll check the worker first, and under the deployments here, I'm going into view logs just to see if we have any errors. And we don't have any errors, so that is a good sign. And then I'll do the same for the, oh, can I get it here? The server. There it was. And I'm going to view logs and see that everything looks as it should, and it does. No red errors, that's a good sign. Let's just test that the storefront still works. So I'll go here and I'll open up the public URL. And let's see. Let's find the sweatshirt here. And let's try to add it to cart. Go to cart. Checkout. Delivery. Standard shipping. Manual payment, because we didn't set up any payment yet. And I place the test order here. That looks good. I'll close down the web shop. And then let's go to the backend here and open up the admin dashboard. You find it on the URL here. And you need to add /app to load the actual dashboard here. And that still works, I see. Let's log in. So I'll go to my variables and the demo admin credentials are here. So I click this copy button here and then I have the email on clipboard, paste it in. And the same with the password here. And these are auto-generated strong secrets. And by the way, if you want to create a new admin user, don't change these values and expect the new admin users to be created. That's not how it works. Log into this one and then create a new admin user from the dashboard. So we're now logged in. If you want to create a new user, you do that on the users here. What we want to see is that we have this order, and the order that we just made is right here, 20 euro. That was the price of the sweatshirt and the shipping combined. Yeah, it all looks good. So the last thing that I want to do is I promised to show how to internalize the connection between the Postgres database and Redis and the backend. And in this template right now, it is already set up as that. So you don't have to do that if you launch the template after this video was posted. But if you're one of those that launched the template earlier, then let me just show you exactly what you need to do. If we go into the variables and find the Redis URL here, and I click on edit, then you see this here is what you need. You need exactly this here. It will point to the Redis service and then the private URL. And that doesn't work on its own. So you need to add this $family equals 0 to the end of it. I'll make sure to paste this into the video description so you can just copy paste it. But this is what you need to set on both of the instances for the Redis URL in order to have the private networking. And the private networking means that it doesn't leave the server house. It goes directly in the server house to Redis and back again. Which mean that it is faster request, faster response time. But also if you see on the usage here, this is where you can see all the cost. This one here, network egress, this is something you pay for bandwidth use. So whenever network traffic goes in and out of your project to the public network, then you pay for it. And you see here on some of them, the admin course here, it has like a little warning, and that means that you're paying network egress on this connection right here because it's using a public network connection. And this is not true for the Redis anymore. So you want this one to go away for the Redis one. And that is just by adding this here and then redeploying. Now for the backend, it's a little bit more easy. Let's find the database. For the database URL, it is even more simple. You simply just have to change it to database private URL and save. So this is what you need, Postgres.database private URL for the database connection on both of the services. Then they will be talking internally and it will be faster and cheaper. So I'll make sure to also copy this one and put it in the video description. All right, lastly, you're probably thinking, okay, that's nice. You have this Medusa stack running. But the storefront has like a funny landing page here and you want to change all that. But how do you do that? Because if you look here in the setting, the source repo is pointing to the boiler repo that I've been covering in this video. So this is my repository and obviously you cannot push changes to that. And the same goes for the backend. So if we click on the backend, you'll see this is the same URL to the GitHub repository and the same for this one. So all of these three services are pointing to my repository and you want to start make changes to your project. And that is very easy, fortunately. So you just have to select one of these three and then click the eject button here. And why I said earlier in the video that if you sign up with Railway, it is a good idea to sign up with GitHub, because when you click that button, you should see your GitHub username right here, and we want to select that. But if you don't have that, don't worry, I'll show you just how to. You go to your page, account settings, and then you scroll down, and here on the integrations, you can see I'm already connected, but if you're not, there will be a button to reauthorize with GitHub, or you can edit the scope here and give more permissions. And you need these permissions for Railway, so Railway can create a new repository on your behalf. So I'll go back to my dashboard here and the project and find either one of these services, and I'll click the eject button, choose my GitHub user, and I'll eject service, and then we just wait for the magic. So that's it, we are now ejected, and you see here now the source repo is pointing to a different repository. This has -wodw, but you'll see your own GitHub username right here, and then it should have the normal name of the boilerplate. And if you click this button here, you'll be taken to a completely fresh new repository living on your own GitHub user. It is a copy of my repository, not a fork, and you can make changes to this. So I hope you're familiar with Git and how to publish code and all that kind of stuff, because that is required to make changes. But basically you clone your project, you make changes locally, and then when you push it, Railway should already pick it up, because this one is now coupled up with your deploy pipeline. So when you push new code, a new deploy should start right here, and also for the other services, so this one and the storefront. And I also have over here on my blog, if we scroll a little bit down, here, successfully deployed, what's next, and here you find some resource to help you continue development. There is one link here to a guide how to run the boilerplate locally. So when you do local development, you want to test it out before you publish it, and this guide right here, it shows you all the tools that you need: Git, Visual Studio Code or another code editor, Node.js, and there's even a video instruction here. I also have other resources such as how to set up a credit card payment with Stripe. I have some guides on how to set up email, so automated emails, and there's a little bit more stuff here. Also, you can ask for help in different places. So the Discord community of Medusa is a good place to ask just regular Medusa related questions. But if you do have any questions that are directly related to the Railway deploy template, then I recommend going into, well, you can also put it in the YouTube comments and I'll answer there, or you can click this link right here. That is a forum where you can see people are every now and then posting some questions related to the deploy template, and I'm actually answering these questions regularly. I can't help you with implementing new stuff and features and all that kind of things. That is a little bit too difficult and time consuming for me to do on remote. But if you run into technical errors or bugs, then you can write it here and I will answer those messages. So that is going to conclude this video. I hope that this helped you to get started with Medusa 2.0. Or if you were already started, I hope that this video at least helped you to how to set up some internal database and Redis connection to save on cost and get more speed, and set up this new server architecture where we have the worker and the server. All right, that's gonna conclude this video. I will very soon be announcing a little competition. So for everybody who's using this deploy template to create an actual web shop, I will be hosting a little competition, and you can, I'll be announcing it on YouTube and then also Blue Sky right here. It is very lonely here. I only have 19 people following me, but right here I will be announcing a little competition, and you can win some Railway hosting credits. So for those that create a nice web shop, I'll be handing out some Railway hosting credits that you can use to pay off your hosting with, basically. But that's all for now. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.